Back switch wasn't on. Can I hear? Oh. Is the mic working? Cool. Hello and welcome to tonight's matchup between the Immanuel Lutheran Lancers and the Spring Valley Cardinals. Taking the tip today for the Lancers is number 24 Thompson, and for the Cardinals, number 12 Anderson. Thompson wins the tip, it goes in the hands of the Cardinals. Passed on low number 24 Larson, he puts it up, too hard off the glass, tipped around and rebounded by Leduc. Pass over to Miller, and Miller up the floor. Pass over to Falkenberg. Gonna pass all over to Radical. Radical fakes, gonna pass up top to Thompson. Thompson scanning. Gonna cut out and pass it over to Falkenberg. Up top to Thompson. Fakes, drives in, puts up a jumper, and he's got it. Starts off the scoring for the game with a 2-0 Lancers, 15:20 left. Larson over to Smith. Back up top to Forster. Over to Smith. Up top to Larson. Puts up a 3. And off the corner of the rim, rebounded by Leduc. Passed over to, Leduc. Passed over to Thompson. Thompson drives around. Fakes in. And going to pass out to Falkenberg. Pass over to Radical. Fakes. Going to drive around. And pass out to Miller, stolen away by Smith, and passed out to Larson. Down low to Anderson. Puts it up, and is blocked. Tipped out of bounds off the Lancers. Forster will pass it in. Sends it out to Larson. Larson drives around. And going to hand it off to Daniel. Back over to Larson. He drives in, puts it up, he is fouled. And he will go to the line and shoot 2. Forster will pass it in down low. Sends it out to Anderson. Up top to Larson. Fumbles it, gets it back, gonna drive around and pass it to Smith. Over to Forster. Over to Daniel. Over to Smith. Smith a 3 off the corner of the rim, rebounded by Leduc. Pass over to Thompson, and he will take it up the floor. Next move, gonna drive around and cut out. Drives in and gonna hand off to Radical. Up top to Falkenberg. He's going to try to drive in. And going to pass on to Radical. Radical cutting in, puts it up, lays it in, just tips out. And rebounded by Anderson, pass over to Smith. Smith up the floor. Pass over to Larson. Up top to Forster, over to Larson. He'll drive around and pass up to Smith. Smith over to Forster. Forster tries to drive in, makes a move, cuts around, puts up a floater, and he's got it off the glass. Ties up the game at 2 apiece. Thompson up the floor. Get the screen and going to pass over to Leduc. Up top to Miller. Sends it over to Falkenberg. Up top to Thompson. Thompson fakes. And going to pass over to Falkenberg. Down low to Leduc. And he is fouled. Keeney will enter for Leduc. Radical pass in down low to Thompson. He'll drive in and pass out to Radical. Thompson up top. Gonna drive in and pass it to Radical too far, can't save it. Cornish will enter for Miller. And Forster will take it up the floor. Pass over to Larson. Sorry, pass over to Forster. Over to Smith. Sends it up top to Daniel. He'll hand it off and pass back up top to Forster too far. Morrow and Bruner will enter for Anderson and Daniel. Radical up the floor. Makes a move, gonna try to drive in and pass over to Keeney. He's gonna drive around. Makes a move and gonna pass over to Radical, driving in. Puts it up and he's got it off the glass. Extends the lead to 2. Forster pass over to Morrow up top to Smith. Over to Forster. And back up top to Bruner. Over to Smith with a 3, and he's got it. Extends the lead to 1, 5-4. Radical up top. Makes a move, gonna drive in and hand it off to Cornish. Down low to Falkenberg, puts it up, and bounces out, rebounded by Radical. And he is fouled. And Radical passes in down low. Up top to Cornish. Down low to Bauer. Gonna put it up, and off the corner of the rim. Rebounded and sent out to Forster. Sends it over to Morrow. Over to Smith. Up top, stolen away by Radical. He's got it with 1-on-2, puts it up, and he's got it off the glass. Extends the lead to 1, 6-5, 11 minutes left. Forster up the floor, gonna pass over to Larson. Larson makes a move, drives inside, puts it up, and is fouled from behind by Radical. Larson will shoot 2. His first will fall. And his second one will bounce out, rebounded by Bauer. And timeout by the Lancers. 6-6, tie game with 10:54 left. Lancer ball, Bauer will pass it into Radical, and Radical will take it up the floor. Scanning, gonna pass it low to Cornish. Tries to drive in, gets stuck, and gonna pass it to Radical, tipped. And out of bounds off Larson. Miller enters for Keeney. And Cornish will pass it in from the corner. Gets into Radical. Drives around, cuts out, and passes over to Leduc. Up top to Cornish. Down low to Miller. Miller drives in, puts it up, and too hard off the glass. Rebounded and sent over to Larson. Gonna pass over to Forster. Over to Bruner. Over to Larson. Back up top and pass over to Daniel. Over to Larson. Larson a 3. And he's got it. Extends the lead to 3, 9-6. And Radical will take it up the floor. Sends over to Miller. Scanning. Tries to drive in. And going to pass on to Radical. Stripped, gets it back, puts it up, and off the court of the backboard. Forster will take it up the floor. Going to drive around, cut out, and pass over to Larson. Larson another 3. And he's got this one as well. Extends the lead to 6. Radical up top. Gonna send it over to Cornish. Makes a move, gonna cut out, and pass over to Radical. Fakes, gonna try to drive in. Drive in, cut out, and pass over to Miller. He makes a move, gonna try to drive around, force cut out. And Miller is stripped out of bounds. That'll be Cardinal ball. Radical exits. Thompson enters. Smith and Morrow enter for Forster and Bruner. Gonna drive around and pass over to Daniel. Gets stripped. And out of bounds off the Cardinals. Cornish up top. Gonna pass over to Thompson. Puts up a 3. And off the back of the rim. Rebounded by Anderson. Send over to Smith. Smith up the floor. Over to Larson. Over to Smith. Smith back over to Larson. Gonna drive in and send it out to Smith. He'll drive around and pass over to Morrow. Over to Larson. Drives in. Gets stuck in the corner. Pass down low to Anderson. And foul on Leduc. Forster will pass it in down low. Gets it in and tips out, tipped over the hands of Bauer, but he stepped out of bounds. Forster going to pass in to Daniel. Daniel, a jumper, too far, rebounded by Cornish. And he'll take it up the floor. Pass over to Thompson. Over to Radical. Radical a 3. Tipped out, tipped around, and rebounded by Smith. Smith up the floor. Going to cut out and send it over to Daniel. Daniel fakes, going to drive in and pass over to Smith. Smith over to Forster. Forster drives in. Puts up a jumper and tips out, rebounded by Radical. Radical up top. Pass over to Thompson. And he is fouled. Luke enters, exits. Falkenberg enters. And Daniel and Mara will exit. Radical pass over to Thompson. Gonna pass over to Cornish. Down low to Radical. Radical backs him down and gonna hand off to Cornish up top. He'll drive in. Reverse layup and gets blocked from behind. Rebounded by Forster. Sends over to Smith. Over to Larson. Make a move, drive around, and pass over to Smith. Sends it all the way back over to Forster. He fakes, gonna try to drive in, gets stuck, and he'll pass to Larson. Larson fakes. He's gonna try to drive around and end up taking it back out up top. Sends it over to Smith. Sends it back over to Larson. Larson tries to drive in, loses it. And jump ball, that'll be Lancer ball. And timeout. Pass into Thompson, and he will take it up the floor. Gonna drive around and pass over to Radical. He'll make a move and pass up top to Miller. Gonna pass over to Cornish. Fakes, cuts in, cuts out. And gonna pass over to Miller. Scanning. And passing low to Falkenberg. All the way back up top to Thompson. Get the screen. Gonna try to go around. All the way around. Get stuck. Gonna pass a little to Cornish. Cornish gets stripped and picked up by Smith. Pass over to Forster. Gonna pass over to Larson. Drives in. And pass back over to Forster. Sends it down low to Bruner. Up top and stolen away by Thompson. He's got a 3-on-2. Gonna drive around. Puts it up and tips out. Rebounded by Falkenberg. Tries to back him down. Puts it up and he's got it off the boards. Rebounded. Sorry, not rebounded. Score now 8-12. 4-point lead. Pass over to Forster. And send over to Bruner. Drive up top and send it over to Smith. Fakes and gonna pass back over to Larson. Down low to Bruner. Try to back him down, get stuck. Pass deflected and stolen away. Pass up to Thompson. He's got 2-on-1. Takes it himself, puts it up, and tipped out, rebounded by Falkenberg. He puts it up. And tipped out again, rebounded by Falkenberg, and offensive foul. Daniel will enter for Smith. Pass into Larson, and he will take it up the floor. Sends it over to Bruner, back over to Larson. Back over to Bruner. Gonna pass over to Daniel in the corner. Gets stuck, gonna pass, tipped, picked up by Forster. Sends it over to Daniel up top. Gonna try to drive in and pass over to Larson. All the way over to Bruner. Loses it. Radical's got it. He's got a 3-on-1. Takes it himself, puts it up, and tips off the glass, and rebounded by Anderson. Gonna pass over to Larson. Gonna pass down low to Forster. Pass all the way back over to Larson. Over to Bruner. Over to Smith. Smith airballs a 3. Sorry, Forster. Rebounded and sent over to Miller. Miller up top. Pass over to Thompson. Scanning and gonna pass over to Miller. Gonna drive around and pass over to Thompson. Up top to Radical. Over to Falkenberg. Gonna drive in, make a move, puts it up, and tips off the glass. Rebounded by Radical. He puts it up, and he's got it. Cuts the lead down to 2. Larson gonna pass over to Forster. Sorry, Bruner. Over to Daniel. Down low to Forster. A jumper. And rims out. Rebounded by Falkenberg. And timeout by the Lancers. 12-10, a 2-point lead for the Cardinals, 3:04 left. Passing, passing to Radical. And he's going to send it over to Keeney. Makes a move, going to drive in, get stuck, and going to hand it off to Miller. Sends it up top to Thompson. Or to Falkenberg. A jumper. And too far. Smith over to Larson. Larson drives in and going to pass down low to Forster. Going to drive back out up top. Sends over to Smith. Up to Daniel. Down low, stolen away by Falkenberg. He's got a 2-on-1. Puts it up, and he's got it. Ties with the game at 12 apiece. Sends it over to Forster. Up top to Smith. Pass over and stolen away by Radical. Radical's got a 1-on-1. Makes a move, gonna pass it to Thompson. He puts it up and he's got it off the glass. Lancers now leading by 2, 14-12. 2 minutes left. Passing to Larson and he will take it up the floor. Larson gonna pass it to Smith. Sends over to Forster. Down low to Larson. He'll drive around and pass over to Daniel. Daniel gonna try to drive around and pass over to Larson. Sends over to Smith. Over to Daniel. Down low to Larson. Gonna try to drive in and tips out of bounds off a Radical. Bauer will enter for Thompson. And Bruner will enter for Daniel. Forster will pass it in and stolen by Radical. He's got a 1-on-none. Puts it up and he's got it off the glass. Extends the lead to 4. 16-12. Pass to Larson and he will take it up the floor. 1:15 left in the first half. Pass over to Forster, over to Larson. Back over to Forster. Fakes and gonna send it over to Bruner. Gets stuck in the corner, gonna pass out to Smith. Fakes and gonna pass over to Larson. Larson's gonna drive around and pass over to Forster. Drives in, pass on low. And he is fouled. That is Morrow. Forster will pass it over to Smith. Smith a 3. Air balls rebounded and put back up by Morrow. Radical up the floor. Makes a move, gonna drive around, cut out, and pass over to Keeney. Gonna drive around. Fakes, and gonna pass it to Miller. Miller drives in. Gonna pass it to Keeney. Sorry, Radical. Radical drives in, but a floater, and tips out. Rebounded by Miller, jump ball, Cardinal ball. Thompson and Leduc, blender for Keeney and Falkenberg. And passing to Larson, he'll take it up the floor. 20 seconds left, a 2-point lead for Lancers. Sends it over to Bruner. Gonna try to drive in and pass over to Smith. Smith a 3. And bounces out, rebounded by Thompson. Pass over to Miller, 5 seconds left. 4, 3, 2, 1. Miller passes over to Thompson, Thompson a 3! And bounces around and out. 16-14, a 2-point lead in the half. Going into the half for the Lancers. 16-14, a 2-point lead for the Lancers at the start of the second half. Passing to Thompson, and he will take it up the floor. Fakes, and going to pass over to Miller. Going to send it over to Falkenberg. Up top to Cornish. He'll fake, drive in, and pass up top to Miller. Miller fakes, he's going to drive in, put up a jumper. Too far. And foul on Cornish. Pass over to Forster. Down low, and hand off to Anderson. Puts it up, tipped off the glass, and rebounded by Miller. Pass over to Thompson, and he will take it up the floor. Gonna drive around, get the screen. All the way in, and pass out to Miller. Pass up top to Cornish. Over to Thompson. Thompson fakes, gonna drive in, and send out to Miller. And send up top to Thompson. Thompson resets, and gonna pass over to Falkenberg. Gonna try to drive in. Get stuck, and gonna pass out to Leduc. Pass over to Thompson. Thompson's three just off, rebounded by Miller. Pass into Falkenberg. He puts it up, and too hard off the glass, rebounded by Thompson. Thompson puts up a floater, and he's got it! Lancers now leading by 4. Pass over to Forster. Over to Clark. Fakes, gonna try to drive in, and gets stripped. Rebounded by Miller. Pass out to Falkenberg. Sends over to Cornish. Cornish up top. Gonna pass over to Thompson. Fakes. Gonna drive around and pass over to Leduc. Gonna pass over to Thompson. Over to Cornish. Sends it out to Leduc. Leduc gets stuck and gonna pass back up top to Thompson. He'll reset it again. Makes a move, drives around, puts up a floater, and tips off the corner of the rim. And out of bounds off Larson. Keeney and Bauer will enter for Cornish and Falkenberg. And Miller will pass it in down low. Gets it into Keeney. Gonna drive around and pass out to Miller. He's gonna drive in. Put up a jumper. And too hard off the board. Pass over to Forster. Over to Larson. Larson back over to Forster. Fakes. Gonna pass over to Larson. Takes a 3. And off the back of the rim. Rebounded by Forster. He puts it up. And he's got it. Ties up the game at 18. Thompson up the floor. He'll drive in. All the way in. And pass out to Miller. Miller fakes. Gonna drive in. Put up a jumper. And he's fouled in 1. Lancers leading by 4, 20-16. And Miller will shoot 1. And it'll fall. Gives the Lancers a 5-point lead. Forster going to pass over and stolen away by Thompson. Thompson's got a one-on-one, puts it up, and he's got it off the glass. Cuts the lead, extends the lead to 7. Larson up the floor. Going to pass over to Forster. Down low to Daniel. Back out to Forster. Up top to Clark. Pass tipped and stolen by Thompson again, and he is fouled. Thompson up top. Gonna drive around. And send it up top to Bauer. Sends over LeDuc. Fakes, gonna try to drive in. And pass out to Keeney. Thompson up top. Gonna pass over to Miller. Fakes. And gonna pass up top to LeDuc. Sends it over to Thompson. Over to Bauer. Over to Keeney. Down low Thompson. Reverse layup. And bounces out. Rebounded by LeDuc. Puts it up. And too hard off the glass. Rebounded by Bauer. Gonna pass out to Keeney. Keeney tries to drive in. Gonna pass to LeDuc. Over to Thompson. Thompson fakes. Gonna try to drive in. And pass out to Miller. Miller gonna dribble back out up top. Gets stuck. And gonna send it up top to Thompson. Over to LeDuc. LeDuc stuck. And 5 seconds in the lane. 3 seconds in the lane. Cornish and Koenig will enter for Miller and Keeney. And Colin enters for Daniel. Larson pass over Clark. Up top, tipped, and picked up by Larson. Thrown out, and lands a Cornish. Gonna pass it low to Bauer. Bauer puts it up, he's fouled. No shot. Falkenberg enters for LeDuc. And Koenig will pass it in down low. Sends it over to Thompson. He fakes. And gonna pass up top to Koenig. Gets him in the air. Gonna pass out to Thompson. Fakes. Gonna drive in. Reverse layup and rims out again. Forster up the floor. Pass over to Larson. Up top to Colin. Over to Forster. Fakes. Gonna try to drive in and pass over to Larson. Larson drives around. Off his foot and in the hands of Cornish. Cornish drives around and pass out the floor to Thompson. Loses it and cannot be saved. Miller will enter for Thompson. And pass it to Larson, and he will take it up the floor. Pass over to Forster. Back over to Larson, stolen away by Bauer. He's got a one-on-one, puts it up, and he's got it off the glass. Extends the lead to 9. Pass over to Forster. Gonna push it up and pass over to Colin. Up top to Larson. Back over to Colin. Over to Forster. Over to Larson. Pass over to Colin. Over to Clark. Sends it up top to Larson. Sends it all the way over to Forster. Hand off to Colin. Over to Larson. Larson up 3. Too far. Rebounded by Forster. Puts it up. He's fouled and 1. Cuts the lead to 7. Chance to cut to 6. Dykehouse will enter for Clark. And Forster will pass it in. Sorry, shoot 1. Bounces out, rebounded by Koenig. And he will take it up the floor. Makes a move, gonna drive around, and pass on to Bauer, tipped out of bounds, Lancer ball. Koenig will pass it in down low. Sends it over to Cornish. Cornish to 3. And he's got it! Sends the lead to 10. Pass over to Forster. Down low to Dykehouse. Tipped. And picked up by Larson. Larson going to drive around and pass over to Dykehouse. Down low. Tipped and stolen away by Cornish. Cornish up the floor. Going to pass up top to Bauer. Back up top to Cornish. Down low to Miller. Miller drives in. Pass down low. Tipped out to Falkenberg. He fakes. And it's fouled. Thompson enters for Bauer, and Anderson enters for Carter. Nope. Schaffer. Koenig will pass it into Miller, and he'll pass out to Falkenberg. Down low to Thompson, tipped out of bounds, Lancer ball. And Koenig will pass it in down low. Sends it over to Miller. Miller a jumper, and he's got it. Extends the lead to 12. 8:25 left, 30-18. Larson up the floor. Gonna push it all the way, and cut back out. Gonna drive in, and hand it off to Dykehouse. Down low to Anderson. And jump ball, that'll be Cardinal ball. Daniel enters for Dykehouse. And Clokey enters for Koenig. Forster will pass it in down low. Out to Dykehouse. And gets stuck. Clokey will pass it in to Thompson, and he will take it up the floor. Thompson going to try to drive in. Cuts out, and going to pass over to Cornish. Cornish fakes, going to pass over to Miller. Miller up top. Going to pass out to Clokey. Clokey off a foot, and out of bounds, Cardinal ball. Pass into Larson, and he will take it up the floor. Sends it over to Forster, and he'll send it over to Daniel. Daniel drives in and is fouled. Luke enters for Falkenberg. And he will pass it into Larson. Gonna send it over to Forster. Sends it down low to Dykehouse. He'll drive around and send it over to Forster. Fakes, gonna send it over to Larson. Larson a three. And bounces out, rebounded by Cornish and Anderson. Jump ball, Cardinal ball. Keeney will enter for Miller. And Forster will pass it in down low. Gets it into Larson. He'll pass out to Dykehouse. And hands it off to Forster, over to Larson. Larson a jumper. Off the front of the rim, rebounded by Thompson. And timeout by the Lancers. 30-18, a 12-point lead with 7:02 left. Pass into Thompson, and he will take it up the floor. Get the screen. Gonna drive around, make a move, and drive up top. Gonna pass over to Leduc. Gonna drive in, and pass out to Keeney. He'll drive around, get stuck, and gonna pass over to Cornish. Cornish fakes. Gonna try to drive in, cut out, and pass over to Leduc. Up top to Keeney, over to Thompson. Thompson fakes, and pass over to Cornish. He'll drive up top and pass over to Clokey. He'll drive in, make a move, get stripped, ball on the ground, and jump ball, Lancer ball. Miller enters for Cornish, and Clokey passes into Thompson. He'll drive around and pass over to Keeney. Keeney makes a move, drives in, gonna pass out to Clokey. Clokey at 3, and air balls, rebounded by Clark. Pass up to Larson, and he'll send it over to Forster. Sends it over to Larson. Over to Forster. Over to Clark. He'll drive in, gets stripped, gets it back, and travels. Falkenberg and Bauer will enter for Leduc and Clokey. Thompson up top. Pass over to Keeney in the corner. Up top to Miller. Sends up top to Bauer. Fakes, gonna drive in, and pass over to Falkenberg. Fakes, and pass up top, stolen away by Daniel. Keeney on him, loses it, and gonna pass over to Anderson. Over to Clark. Clark fakes, gonna pass over to Larson. Over to Forster. Forster a 3. And bounces out, tipped, and rebounded by Falkenberg. Pass over to Thompson, and he will take it up the floor. Thompson up top. Gonna make a move, drive in, and pass over to Falkenberg. Try to back him down, cut out, and pass over to Miller. Over to Keeney. Fakes. Gonna drive around and pass over to Bauer. Up top to Thompson. Thompson fakes and travels. Koenig enters for Keeney. And Larson will take it up the floor. Pass over to Forster, back over to Larson. Back over to Forster. Fakes and sends over to Larson. Down low to Clark. Up top to Larson. Pass over to Forster. He'll drive in. All the way in. And pass down low. Off of Koenig and out of bounds. Cornish enters for Thompson. And Forster will pass it in down low. Up top to Larson. Over to Forster in the corner. A 3. Air balls tipped and rebounded by Koenig. Cuts out and he'll take it up the floor. Drives all the way in. Fakes and going to pass out to Bauer. Up top to Cornish. Going to try to drive in and travels. Larson over to Forster, back over to Larson, over to Forster. Pass down low to Clark. Pass tipped, and foul on Koenig. Pass up to Larson, and he will take it up the floor. Pass over to Clark. Clark at 3. And he's got it. Cuts the lead down to 9. Pass to Miller, and he will take it up the floor. He'll drive around. And pass over to Cornish. Fakes. Gonna drive around and pass over to Fulkenberg. He'll drive in. Puts it up. It is blocked from behind but fouled, and he will go to the line and shoot 2. Fulkenberg's first. Will bounce out. And his second. Will bounce out as well. Rebounded by Koenig. Puts it up, and he is fouled, and he'll go to the line and shoot 2. His first. Will bounce out. And his second will fall. 10-point lead for the Lancers, 31-21. Larson up the floor. Pass over to Forster. Send over to Larson. Down low to Daniel. Up top to Larson. He'll drive around and pass over to Forster. Back up top to Larson. He'll drive in. Cut out. Drives back in. Gets stripped and pass out to Clark. Down low to Schaffer, and out of bounds off him. And Miller will take it up the floor. Gonna drive around. And pass over to Koenig. He'll drive in, cut out, and pass over to Fulkenberg. Gonna try to drive in, gets stuck, and is fouled. And he will go to line and shoot a 1-and-1. Fulkenberg's first could be his last. And it'll bounce out, tipped, and rebounded by Daniel. Pass over to Forster. He will pass over to Larson, back over to Forster. Forster drives in. Pass over to Daniel. Out to Larson. Larson a 3. And bounces out. Rebounded by Forster. Jump ball, and it'll stay with Cardinals. Pass into Larson, back over to Forster. He'll fake and pass over to Larson. Larson fakes, drives around, and is fouled. Pass into Larson. Over to Daniel, over to Clark. Clark in the corner. Up top to Forster. He'll drive in. And double dribble. Lang will enter for Koenig. Some press. Cornish will pass it in to Miller. He'll drive around. And pass up top to Fulkenberg. He'll drive in. Stuck up top. We're going to pass over to Cornish. Cornish drives in. He's got a lane. Puts it up. And tipped out. And out of bounds off the Lancers Cardinal ball. Pass over to Clark in the corner. Up top to Forster. Over to Larson. Down low to Daniel. Up top to Larson. Pass over to Forster. Down low to Clark. Clark drives in. Pass down low. Jump ball, Lancer ball. 1-1 left. A 10-point lead for the Lancers. 31-21. Malcolm Bauer will enter for Falkenberg. And Dykehouse will enter for Forster and Larson. And Miller will take it up the floor. Gonna drive around and pass out to Bauer. Up top to Cornish. Makes a move. Tries to drive in and gonna pass out to Miller. Miller drives in, gets stripped from behind, gets it back. And gonna put up a jumper. And he's got it. Extends the lead to 12, 33-21. Clark up the floor. 28 seconds left. Pass over to Dykehouse. Down low to Dykehouse. Over to Toby. Up top to Dykehouse. Drives around. Pass down low. Toby puts it up. He's fouled and one. Cuts the lead down to 10. Chance to cut it to 9. Keeney will enter for Bauer. Liam Bauer. And Toby's first and only. Chance to cut it to 9. Is off the front of the rim. Rebounded by Miller. Miller up the floor. 13 seconds left. Drives in. Cuts out. And going to pass out to Keeney. 5 seconds left. Keeney drives around. 2, 1. And that's going to end it. 33-23, a 10-point win for the JV Lancers. Varsity will be starting in about 30 minutes. Stream will be starting in about 5 for band. The C-team boys lost by about 10-ish. I'm not entirely sure what the score was. And JV girls currently trailing 60-something to 13. Can't really see the scoreboard very well. Hope you enjoyed the game and have a great night.